Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Lad on C++ programming. So in the previous video tutorials, we have learned about the generic functions in C++. So in addition to the generic functions, we can define a generic class. So when we define a generic class, we are creating a class that defines all the algorithms used by that class. However, the actual type of data that's being manipulated or being worked in that class will be specified as a parameter when we create an object of that class. Okay, the next thing that you guys may ask me, like, what is the use of generic classes? There are some situations where the algorithm is gonna be same for different types of data, or the same algorithm is going to be used to achieve something on different types of data. For example, let's take a stack where the algorithm is same, or the working of stack is same. The difference is what kind of data we are going to be working, whether it is integers or whether it is floating point numbers. So at that time, what we can do is we can create a class called stack, and we can use this generic class technique, and we can make it to work on different types of data. So it reduces the duplication of the logic in your program, and also it's very easy to maintain the code. Alright, if it is confusing, all these things, don't worry, when we see this in example, it's gonna be clear. Alright, first we're gonna see how to define a generic class in your program. So first we need to write the keyword template, and then the less than and greater than symbol, and here we're gonna use the keyword class, the type name of class, and then the generic type. Let's say my type, any name you guys want to give, you guys can give that. And then we're gonna define a class. That's why we need to use the keyword class and then the class name. Let's say my class, similar to the definition of a class. So here, this my type is a placeholder for the data type that we're gonna be using inside that class, and the data type will be provided by us when we create an object of this class. Or in other words, this my type is a placeholder, or which indicates the unknown type. It can be any type that we're gonna be using in our class. So here, as a private member of this my class, let's have a member or property of this my type, which can be of any data type. So I'm gonna write the data type here, the placeholder for that data type, which is my type. And then let's say p1, property 1, and then we're gonna have my type, and then let's say p2, property 2. You guys can give any name, the member name or the variable name here. Alright, then we're gonna have the public access specifier, and then we're gonna build a constructor, which is gonna take two parameters and it's gonna initialize these members. So the constructor is gonna have the same name as the class, and that's why it's gonna be my class. And we're gonna have, and this constructor is gonna receive two parameters, and that parameter are unknown at this time. It can be any data type, and that's why we're gonna refer this my type. So it's gonna be my type, let's say x, comma my type, comma y. So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna store the value of this x in our member p1 and y in this member p2. So I'm gonna use p1 equal to x and p2 equal to y. Alright, now we have defined the constructor, and similarly if you want to define any other constructor, you guys can do that. The next thing that we're gonna do is here we're gonna build a public method, which is gonna print out the values of these members. So the return type of that member, which is gonna be void, and the method name, let's say what you got. And it's not gonna take any parameters, and here we're just gonna use cout, and we're gonna say I got p1, the first member, equal to, and I'm gonna refer p1, and I'm gonna insert, and p2, the second property or the second member, equal to, and then I'm gonna refer p2, and I'm just gonna end this line. Alright, now we have defined a template class or a generic class, which can be used to create an object of any data type. So in my main function, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an object from this generic class. So to create an object from a generic class, first we need to write the class name, which is my class here, and then since it is a generic class, we need to specify the type of data that the object that we're gonna create is gonna be working on. That's why I'm gonna use this less than and greater than symbol, and I'm gonna use int, and then we need to write the name of the object. Let's say int object, and we can pass two values, and here we need to pass two integer values, because we are telling that this object is gonna be working on integer type of data. We are specifying the value for this placeholder my type, and this class is gonna take the parameters of my type. For this object, int object, it's gonna be int, and that's why I'm gonna pass two integer values. Let's say 22 comma 55, and then I'm gonna create another object from this my class, and which is gonna work on string type. So the class name, which is my class, and then less than and greater than symbol, and between that we need to write the type of data that the object is going to be working on. It's going to be string, and then we need to give the name for that object. Let's say string object, string obj, and then we need to pass the parameter for the constructor. So here we are telling to the C++ that we are creating an object from this generic class my class, and it's gonna work on the string types. So this string type is gonna be the value for this placeholder my type, and this class is taking two parameters, or this constructor is taking two parameters of this my type, and that's why for this string object we need to pass two string values. So I'm gonna pass Anil, and I'm gonna pass Anjali, and that's it. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna call what you got method from this int object and string object. So it's gonna be int object dot what you got. Alright, it's gonna be the string object, string obj, the object name, dot what you got. Alright, what you got. Alright, now I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna build and run this. Okay, we got the error, and I'm gonna open up the logs. Expected before x and expected semicolon after class definition. Right, okay, we have missed semicolon here, and also here. Okay, that's because this my type, the placeholder we have defined is in capitals, and we have written that in small letters. That's why we are getting the error. So it's gonna be my type in caps. Alright, now I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna build and run this, and now you guys can see I got p1 equal to 22 and p2 equal to 55. That's from this integer object, int object, and then I got p1 equal to Anil and p2 equal to Anjali. That is from this string object. So now here in this tutorial, we have defined a template class, and we have created the objects that are gonna work on different data types in our program. So now just to demonstrate that here the data types that we're gonna pass should be of the same type, because this constructor is taking the parameters of the type passed, that is string in this case. In the second case, just to demonstrate that, I'm just gonna change this one to 2, an integer value, and I'm just gonna build and run, and we get the error. And if I open up the logs, it says invalid conversion from int to const char star. Right, So this is it, guys. This is how you guys can write a generic class in your program and also create an object from that generic class. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.